with another episode, the Smart Life podcast. Aaron Taylor here. So, before we get started, hey, if this show has done anything for you guys, whether it's encouraged you or you like it, the one thing I want to just encourage you is feel free to go on to YouTube, Spotify, give us a like, 5-star rating, preferably. If you have, my mom always said, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. But you're definitely your listenership definitely helps the algorithm. So if it's done anything for you, I just encourage people to like it, share it, and hopefully you enjoy it. That's what we want to do. And a common thing people ask is, where these guests that you bring on, how do you find them? Sometimes you just got to know where to look. They could be in your back. They could be the neighbor next door. They could be the person at the grocery store. Might even be you just never know. It might even be an amazing social media influencer that maybe you even know. You just never know what people are doing, how talented they are. And I get to meet some very talented people over the years. And sometimes I kind of wonder, like, am I really that talented? And I'm just always kind of studying, how do people do certain things, search certain niches. We've got so many different avenues that we can explore. But I really wanted to explore this avenue with the guest that I have on here. She has a very unique niche and something that I definitely respect. It's an industry that continues to grow. Most of you guys probably, you see it all the time on television. You probably know somebody that does it uh, within your family or friends. But just a little bit of background about the guest. So I've got Sky Grimes here in the house. In the Dallas, Texas area. She's the owner of Skylight Photography. It's a very booming photography business in the Dallas area. And she does it with great passion, great excellence. Just a person of integrity, a person of honor. You can really tell just kind of the story she tells with each unique photo. I've gotten to see quite a bit of her work that she's posted on social media, and it's very beautiful. It's amazing the quality that you get and the gift that she has. So I wanted to bring Sky in here today and just kind of allow, maybe you people, some of you that are great photographers, videographers. I think this is great to kind of hear just how she uses her passion, her joyful attitude. By the way, you probably have one of the most joyful smiles, I must say, Sky. And so, and I think that's probably why you just kind of continue to fall in love with that passion. So I want to start with that. So kind of take me back to the place. Where did that passion start from? Where did that desire come from when you started the business? I don't know how long you've been in business, but maybe kind of take us back. Where did this all begin for you?
Yeah, so first, thank you for all those kind words. It was very sweet. So it all really began. I was 12 years old. My dad is a professional photographer and videographer, and he's always been my biggest role model. And I just wanted to be like him when I grew up. So he got me my first camera, my parents did, and I just wanted to take a picture of any and everything. And the biggest ones, they weren't good photos when I was 12, but it was usually out in nature of like a rock or like something silly. Like when you're a kid, you just think that's the coolest thing ever. So at a young age, it was just always like something that was just for fun. Once I got into high school, I started taking it more seriously and really being mentored by my dad, like getting a bigger camera and getting into the details, really getting into like editing. So I'd always taken like digital media classes in high school, but my dad was the one that really pushed me to do it like seriously. So I want to say my junior, senior year is when I kind of started just like a little gig. So I wasn't really working because I was in like sports and like AP, like started college classes early. So like education was very important to me. And then sports. So I just did it really on the side, and it like started with like family, like pregnancy photos, maternity shots, graduation, prom, and then like family photos. And I would never like make someone pay me. It was more of just like I needed to gain that experience. But then I remember the first time that someone like actually paid me without even being asked. And I want to say it was probably 17 or 18 years old. And deep down, I was still finding like my worth and my purpose. So when this person paid me, I was like, why? Like, I didn't think I was worth paying at the time because I was still learning. And it took them seeing that potential in me to really dive into that. Because I was like, hey, if this person thinks I'm good enough to be paid as a photographer, like, just imagine like how many more
Hmm.
people would. So that was when I really started taking seriously, taking on more responsibilities. And then towards like the end of graduation is when I was like getting paid on a regular basis. Um, and then I moved to Washington and I completely stopped taking photos. I got on the other side of the camera actually. I wanted to be able to learn both aspects. So yes, taking the photo, but also what is it like being on the other side of the camera? So I actually got into modeling and
Wow.
fashion and I did
Wow.
that for 6 years. And when I moved back to Texas as of September of 24, that's when I was like, okay, this is what I'm passionate about. This is what makes me happy. Seeing people happy makes me happy. And I really wanted to be able to create a space for someone to really one just create that moment. Like, what is their vision? Let's make it
Hmm.
come to life. Being able to just feel that emotion, embracing the emotion, but also capturing
Hmm.
that emotion is just such a beautiful thing to me. And just seeing, like, if it's a wedding, like how in love they are. I've actually been brought to tears from like wedding shots or like family
Hmm.
photos, just like the genuine love within that family. So I guess it's been about almost a year, coming on close to a year. But now I do it completely professionally and fully paid for all of my
Wow.
jobs. So it's really cool to really see that and just trust the
Yeah.
process.
You know, you mentioned one thing about your dad. Obviously, your dad was a big step for you. Maybe talk about what are some of the things that, as you saw him taking his steps, his progress, what are some things that you learned from him? Some kind of tools that he gave you, guidance that he gave you, some pieces of advice as you started to kind of find uh, almost basically your calling in your career field. What are some things that he sort of taught you along the way that have been helpful to you now?
I would say the biggest thing is that it's okay to start small. I started my first like learning experience on just a Nikon camera, like the most basic camera you can get. It's because like I needed to learn the foundation and the basics before I just jump right in. And when you're starting out, easily like I'm a very like go 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 person. Like I love a good challenge and like I just want to get to my goal immediately as fast as possible. But that's not the reality of life. Sometimes things do take time. So I would say just like being okay starting small and simple because you want to ensure your foundation is like solid before anything. The second thing I would say is he is like, if you want something, like go get it. And he is one of the hardest working people I know in my life. And that's probably the biggest thing that I respect about him and I try to apply to my own life. So if I commit to something, like I am 200% in, if I know it's something that I cannot commit to, then I won't commit to it. And I think those two things have really helped me and pushed me to get to where
That's
I'm at.
great. That's great. Your dad is kind of basically, he reminds me kind of like that, that top near like Bill Belichick, like football coach. He's got your game plan. He's got your offense. This is what you got to have on the defensive side. You've got to be ready and to cover every aspect when it comes to this, because I think sometimes there's that concept where we think that, oh, it's just taking photos. Well, it's more than doing that. It's more than just some people might think, well, it's just a hobby. No, but for some people this is a form of, it's art, it's their passion. And you really, as you want to develop and you want to get better, then there comes that aspect where you have to learn to be the student of the game. So you have to study the art, you have to study uh, you know how to make this look good. I obviously don't know really much about photography. I certainly respect it, but one of the biggest things I do love, photographers always say, is that the art form aspect about it is just really beautiful. It's just how you capture. And as you're taking, pictures, whether it's, people, objects, what goes through your mind the minute you start snapping? Do you kind of have an objective that you set yourself for people?
Yeah. So I would say, hmm, I think the biggest thing is like you want to capture the ultimate emotion, right? Like the climax of the emotion. So I think starting out before I like will take the actual shot, like I will take like deep breaths myself because I want to be as present as possible as I
That's
can.
good.
Because
That's good.
it's yes about the subject, but like I have to be connected to the subject. Like we have to get that shot in that moment. So I think like one for myself, just being as present as possible. If I'm having an off day, like I need to do what I need to do to get in a good headspace so that I can be present for this person. Like, they don't have to pay me to take their photo. They didn't have to trust me. They didn't even have to ask me. So for me, it is an honor to take their photo and be trusted with that. So it's like if they're trusting me, I need to like do my due diligence to be there for them as well. So I would say making sure I'm mentally, emotionally in a good headspace before I come to a shoot. When it comes to the exact moment of taking the photo, it's kinda hard to explain, it kinda just,
Hmm.
like, happens, like, when you're looking at it and you're watching them, like, interact or, like, when you're guiding them through a pose or, like, if you're having a couple looking at each other, like, you have to guide it, and sometimes you just, like, know the
Hmm.
moment. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
if that makes sense, but you just
Yeah.
know. You get the feeling and you
Yeah.
just snap it, and I think yeah, that's how it is for me. I don't know if it's like that for everybody, but I know for me, it's just like you just feel the moment and
Yeah.
you
I
just snap it.
remember years ago, I was on a set. It was a large commercial set for a pretty large company, Fortune 500 company, and I just remember looking. They had multiple different photographers, and I'm just looking at them. Some of them are just, they're stressing. I'm not sure what goes through their mind, what they're looking for, what they're trying to accomplish in those. And I just remember seeing just mentally, I could see kind of, you can kind of read somebody's body language. So, and then they just began to express themselves in a way that was kind of unpleasurable for the clients. It didn't sound like they accomplished what they came there for. But how important would you say is the mental aspect, making sure you're in the right frame of mind, that you're having the right thoughts as you're taking these photos? Because I can only imagine if the photographer or videographer, for example, if they're not in the right headspace, how does that affect? Do you find that affects the overall quality of the project, the work?
Yeah, I would say it makes it less relational. Relationships are everything, connections are everything. And if I'm a person that's going to preach like relationships are everything, I need to just check myself. Because let's say I didn't get enough sleep one day and I'm not talking as much or just like hardly making any conversation in a shoot, that looks bad on me. And I have been in a situation like that. Like, I'm going to be full transparency. There has been times where like I burnt myself out and I committed to something that I should have waited like maybe another week or a couple days before doing, and I was so burnt out and like yes, I ended up powering through, but if I would have just taken the time to like taken a nap or gone to bed a little bit earlier or not stayed out as late, I could have easily avoided like that burnout feeling and been more present like with a client. So I think like it's vital because like if you're gonna be in the people industry, you have to make sure that you are taking care of yourself and recharging your battery before you pour out to someone else. Something I love using is an example of just like, and you can apply this anywhere in your life. It's just like you have to pour out your cup because if you're pouring into other people's cup, what happens when your cup is empty? Like who's filling up your cup? So I need to make sure that my cup is filled completely so that I can continue to pour out to other people. Because if I don't, one, that's not fair to me, but that's not fair to them also. I would be missing out on an opportunity to bless someone else or someone else bless me. There's been times where like I think I'm going into a setting where I'm hoping to bless them and then I will leave completely
Mhm.
blessed. So yeah, I think you just have to take care of yourself and make sure that you're locked in and ready to
Yeah.
go.
There was a stat I remember I came across not that long, it may have been months ago. And I remember one of the stats, there was a survey that was taken by a pretty large university that said the people that come into their passion, the people that come into their craft and display just kind of like a happy like attitude mindset tends to rub off the client. So meaning that if you're passionate, if you're joyful and excited about what it is you're doing, what the opportunity that you're going to create, that tends to continue to build your client base. So as you've seen your client base continue to improve and it's continued to scale, do you credit that a lot due to just the energy that you continue to bring and the drive that you continue to have? Obviously, I know your dad has definitely been a part of that, but who else has kind of been a part of that journey to kind of keep you excited, happy, and just kind of have that childlike faith?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think my dad definitely helped me set my foundation and make sure that was like solid before anything. I think, and I say this like in a confident manner, not like cocky. I know it can be like confused, like if you don't
Mm-hmm.
know a person very well. But I will say, like, you have to put in the work. So like I've put in years into my self development, making sure that I'm secure in myself, that I'm confident, and knowing that like I've worked my butt off to get to where I'm at. And like that's okay to take ownership of and share. Like I feel like sometimes people can like take that in a negative sense, like, oh, she's always talking about herself, but it's just like, no, like it's okay to give yourself the credit. Like you got here for a reason and it took work and it took time and like you went through hardship. So I think part of it is just like I've put in the years to make sure I'm very secure in myself and who I am, what I'm passionate about, and what I stand for. And I think the biggest thing with building traction with like clients is like word of
Mm-hmm.
mouth. Word of mouth is the biggest thing. Like, yes, I can promote my work or I can do marketing campaigns, XYZ, right? I can strategize. But at the end of the day, it is going to be word of mouth. And every single person that I have taken photos of has been word of mouth. There might have been a couple like we connected over
Mm-hmm.
like social media, but like I will be like, hey, like you can reach out to this person, or hey, you can reach out to this person to get like a client testimonial basically. But I think the biggest thing is just like, you know, if you're expecting someone to like trust you with like their photos and like be in that setting, like I also have to like
Mm-hmm.
trust them. So you have to give them something to trust, you
Yeah.
know? So
Yeah.
yeah. Does that
Yeah,
answers your
no,
question?
that definitely helps. What's kind of one way that in your work that you can say you've built trust with the client and that's made the client feel as comfortable, they're confident, and that just allows them to just, share your work and say, "Hey, I know a great photographer, I know a great videographer." What's some ways that has helped you build trust with a client?
Yeah, 100%. I would say I really like to meet them before a shoot because if it's like, if I already know them, like let's say they were like a family friend or went to school with them, because I've had a couple like that. So it's like that familiarity is already there. So if I know them, it's a little bit different. But if let's say if like brand new, like most recently I just did a really big powerlifting meet. It was
Hmm.
massive. And we had connected over social media. But before anything, I was like, hey, like, I want to meet this person. I want to introduce myself, make sure that we're aligned. Because you never want to agree to something if it doesn't
Absolutely.
make sense, like, for both sides. Like, you want to be a fit for each other. So I'll always want to meet them in person, whether it's grabbing coffee, going on a walk, grabbing lunch, but making that connection, not just like through media, but also in person. Because it's a relationship, it's a people business. So like I want to be as personal as possible. because I want them to see like, oh wow, actually like really cool and chill, or like she's really bubbly. Like this would be great to have around at an event. So yeah, I think the biggest thing is just like you have to make like that personal connection and make sure that it's a good fit for
Yeah.
both parties.
I don't know what's wrong with a lot of America today, but it's so easy. I think if you just take those basic steps and you actually vet the client, uh, it gives you the opportunity, they get the opportunity to ask questions because you don't know, you can't really say, well, I know the person. Yeah, you may know them here in passing or you got referred to them, but the process that you just mentioned, I think is very important because you want to make sure at the end of the day, hey, I want to make sure I'm serving you in this capacity. And if if we're a match in heaven, then let's talk about what that next step will look like. So I think what you're doing is fantastic, and that's a step that just in general you don't want to just get in relationship with anybody or anything.
Right. That would
Yeah,
be
it's
crazy.
you just never know like who you're gonna come across. So that aspect is I'm very big on. I'm very big on meeting people beforehand. And obviously you and I had a long conversation even before we jumped on here. Like it was, we had a great conversation, and it was great to definitely kind of hear more of your story and just have you on here. So what gives you the most just kind of excitement about the work that you do, that keeps you I I think I said this as a joke to somebody the other day, and I was like, her smile is like a Ronald McDonald smile, because I was like, Sky is just like one of the happiest people I've ever seen. It's unbelievable. Yeah. That was so funny. She lost the question in the front. Yeah, but that's how you're excited about it. So, but
Attention, I was
yeah,
like, "Wait, one
but
here,
talk
one
yeah,
here."
talk about just
Um,
the aspect that keeps you the most like happy, positive about your job, about your work, about your art. What are some things that just kind of keep that mood just happy for you?
yeah. Sorry, I was like, what did he say? I would say, okay, so the biggest thing I tell people is that I have a heart for people, but a mind of creativity. So in that area, you really get both because, like we just talked about, the relationship aspect of it. So you get that people interaction, right? And then the creativity part is like, hey, let me go into editing and like make this like vision come to life. So I think when the two intertwine, that just like gets me going. Like I love the creativity part of it, but also just like the people part of it as well. And I think when it's like time to deliver to the client, I'm not gonna lie, I always get nervous because I'm just like, hey, like I know I love this, but what if they don't love it? Because like that's a big deal, especially like in the
Hmm.
wedding industry. They're only getting married once. So like you have to get the shot, you have to make sure it's right. Like that's their day. You want to make sure it's special, just how they think of it. So in those situations, I try to just put myself in like the client's feet of just or shoes, and it's just like, okay, like if I was in their position, what would I want? So I think just like really being able to deliver and seeing their reaction also really makes me happy. I love seeing other people's happiness
Hmm.
makes me happy. When they grow, that makes me happy. But just like when someone is able to fully embrace something, I love that because for me, I never got that as a kid. Like growing up, it took me hitting like my rock bottom to really find like who I was, what I was passionate about, my voice, what a boundary is, how
Hmm.
to set a boundary. So I think once I was able to have that feeling myself, I was like, man, I want someone else to have this feeling as well. So when someone truly experiences just like genuine like joy and happiness, that just makes
Yeah.
me so happy.
Let's go back to I think about the time you'd mentioned about when you stepped away from it. And I can only imagine maybe kind of I don't know if there was stress or if there was hurt or just kind of some challenges that you dealt with. But during that time frame that you stepped away, what did that do for you as you learned to just kind of pick yourself back up in that process? Who helped you? What was some key things? Because I think there's some people out there that maybe they're in a similar boat. Like, hey, I was so happy about this before, um, and I'm just struggling to find where's the joy again. What did you do to kind of find
Yeah.
that joy again, to just basically begin again?
Yeah. That's a good question. I would say when I kind of phased out of it, it always felt like it was something that was always on the back burner, right? So it's not like it ever like left me, but it was definitely something I wasn't pursuing for that time period. But I will say it was really nice learning the other side of the camera too, which same experience, it took someone else seeing that potential because I would have never just like pursued like any sort of modeling like on my own. Maybe like dabbled in it or like given it a try, but it really took someone else being like, "Oh wow, like you have beautiful eyes or a great smile or like you're really good at posing or whatever the case may be." So I think someone else seeing that potential again like really helps me. And again, like I'm a person of like, if I'm gonna commit to something, like I'm gonna commit to it. So while I wasn't pursuing photography for a season of my life, I fell in love with something else. And that's also okay. I think you're gonna love a lot of things in your life. And I think that is the beautiful thing about life is just all the different experiences you're gonna have, the amount of passions you may learn that you have multiple passions, and just truly embracing that even though I wasn't doing photography for that time period, I found happiness and joy in other things too. Is it the same feeling? No. But it was still like, wow, I really enjoy this. Did I see myself doing it long term? No. But for the time period, like, it was really nice being around a community of people that have a like mindset as you and that also encourage you in those areas. Because when you're building your own business, it's kind of just like you are your biggest cheerleader. When you're in a community of people that are doing the same thing as you, it's more like group and like community. So I would say like they're two like different things, but like I had such a beautiful experience with both of them in different
Hmm.
capacities. And I was able to take what it was like being in front of the camera to like now present day of just like, hey, like I can guide a model through a shoot. I can tell them what angles that I need. I can shoot like backgrounds with what they're wearing and coordinate that. What is their makeup style? So learning both aspects of it, I think, progressed me faster than it would have if I never would have gotten into that industry.
Wow, there's really that much that goes behind the camera. See, I'm fascinated by all this stuff. I like half the time I think it's just like I'm wondering like, okay, why do they take so many different photos? But now that gives me a bigger picture of what their overall objective is. Do you set uh a specific objective for yourself, for the client, for each different individual, whether it's a graduation or it's a wedding? Um, or a model? Do you have a different objective that you try to set for yourself each time?
Yes. Oh, energy is everything, right? So what I bring into a shoot is what is going to be the vibe. It's going to be the mood, right? I would say it does depend on like what are we shooting. So, for example, the powerlifting meet that I just did. Like it is very like raw, like in your face, like very hype. So like that whole 12-hour day, I had to be on my A game 100%. So that's an example. But then you go to a wedding, it's very like soft and like demure. So then you want to go into a wedding like, okay, I have to think like the bride is probably already stressed out. Who knows what the groom is doing? So making sure you're not the like wedding planner or the event planner, but like you're still responsible for making sure that the bride is staying cool, calm, and collected, that the groom has everything that he needs, someone has the rings. So, in a sense, like you just have to be on your toes, but you also have to be adaptable. Because, like, in a wedding, you'll go from a sweet, soft ceremony to a crazy reception. So, it depends if it's like a graduation picture, like you want to hype them up. Like I just did some senior photos actually, and she was just a natural, and like she already had like a really bubbly personality, but I was just like, oh girl, okay, like you have to hype them up, you know? So yeah, I think it definitely depends on what the vibe is, what are we shooting, and what's really the theme of it, because that's going to help me bring in my energy
Okay.
as
Like,
well.
what would an example? I don't know if you like specialize whether like let's say it's like an infant shoot. Like how difficult is that? Because I've seen some infant shoots and I've seen a lot of stress about that because the infant is just tired, they're crying and I'm thinking like what is going through the photographer's head in that?
Yes. Okay. Two examples. I have done a couple infants. The first one, she was actually such a chill baby, but when she was done, she was done. So you want to get all the shots that you want to get as fast as
Mhm.
possible. That was the biggest thing. So when I go out to a shoot, I usually get to the spot like 20 to 30 minutes early to zone it out. I find my locations and I already have my like poses ready to go. That way, when the model, the baby, the couple, when they arrive, everything is set for them. All they have to do is just pose, smile, laugh, whatever, feel the emotion, right? So I make sure that I am ready to go. Babies, you just have to be quick. That is the biggest thing. If they're siblings, oh my gosh, I did a Mother's Day shoot, and you know how the first child is always very like
Yes.
chill? No, the second child, crazy. So getting that timing was really hard, but it was fun at the same time. But yeah, you just have to be quick with it and grab their attention. So like thinking of like, okay, like how can I get a hold of their attention? How can I hold their attention and
Mhm.
really get the shot without them like moving or it being blurry? So yeah, with kids you just gotta be fast.
And at a very fast pace, yeah, like snap, go, 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 go. It's such a unique art. I always think it's great when you see the different things that infants do, and uh, I feel like patience definitely has to come into play too, especially for the parents. Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say more for the parents because I'm not the
yeah,
one that's like
hmm
dealing with them. I'm just there to take their photo.
exactly. When it comes down to, and just on the subject of patience, is patience sort of just kind of a key element? I've met some very great photographers that are not patient, but I've also met photographers that are generally patient, and I've seen different results completely. I've seen an impatient result versus a patient result. How important does that play into the work, the art, and just the creativity behind it?
Yeah, I think it kind of goes back to like, am I taking care of myself? Like, am I in a good headspace? I think those two go hand in hand. In regards to patience, I'm trying to think about a time I might have been impatient. I think weddings, for example, are very long days. I can see how a photographer can become impatient because, like, especially when like family photos are coming into play, or like just the two of them, or the whole group, or like the court. So I could definitely see if like people aren't cooperating. I know that definitely does test me. I'm
Hmm.
not gonna lie. I'm a very like go go go. Like I have a system. I value structure, and I always have a plan going into things. So I think the moment something is out of my control or people aren't cooperating, like if kids aren't smiling and they're making a face, I'm just like, "Okay, like I want to make these photos look good, but I can't because their child isn't
Hmm.
cooperating." So I think those factors can definitely test a person's patience. But overall, I feel like I'm a pretty patient person. Like, I don't mind waiting an extra moment to get the perfect
Hmm.
shot. Or, like, if I need to change my angle to make this shot even better, like, let's
Hmm.
do it, you know? I try to always remain, like, open minded with things. So if like they have an idea too that I didn't think of, I'm like, okay, let's do it. Let's see how it goes. So yeah, I think patience just like it goes back to like, am I taking care of myself? Am I in a good headspace? Like, did I prepare for today to be a long day? Like, if I know it's going to be a long day, I need to do the preparation that I need to do to make sure that I am locked in for the
Hmm.
whole day, you
And
know?
how much preparation do you kind of have an expectation for the client? Because you're coming in, you obviously have, obviously the biggest preparation is just getting everybody ready, location ready. But how much preparation generally should a client have in this, if it in terms of like a percentage?
Right. Mm, it's very situational. Sometimes settings will already be set, and my job is literally just to come in and take the photo. So if the setting is set, that's nice. If the setting is not set, I take that upon myself. Um, so in like situations like that, I would probably just expect them to like, okay, like, are your colors correct? Like, if you need to do your makeup, is your makeup set? Like, is everything coordinated and like matching if it's family photos? So I think really just them like doing their part with like showing up with what they're wanting. Because you're gonna
Mhm.
get what you give, right? So like if they're showing up with what they want, like my job is to capture that, right? So I'm gonna do my best to capture that. But just like sometimes you gotta work with what's given to you. So like a hard thing I think people have accepting is that like not everybody's photogenic. I'm gonna
Mhm.
do my best to make the photo look as great as possible. But the reality of the end of the day is just like not everybody's photogenic, and that's okay. But it's just like you gotta get be flexible and yeah, you just gotta adapt to your settings. But yeah, I would say maybe like 30% is the client, and I would say 70% is
Okay.
probably me.
That's a
Or like
yeah,
80/20. No, I think
70/30.
70/30. Yeah. I've never been asked
Yeah.
that and I've never thought
It's
about
it's
that.
always I'm always just curious because, I did a shoot. I remember it was a couple of years ago, and there was a little bit of preparation that I had done, and there's some preparation. The photographer did a good portion of it. I think though I remember I did. I just felt like my portion was very minimal compared to what they contributed, and so I'm always curious. Like, should a client contribute more to the preparation process? Because uh, one, I'm thinking like, okay, they booked you. Secondly, does the client have a vision? And actually, if you can speak onto that, do most clients that you work with, do they kind of have a vision of, hey, this is what I want to, this is what I would like to share? Or do you find yourself kind of helping them just identify a vision together? Is that a collective effort?
So, yes and no. Sometimes with a shoot, like let's say that it's a gender reveal. Those are pretty straightforward, right? Like you know the vibe of that and the theme. So, I think the expectation with like if it's very specific, like it's very clear on like what the expectation is. If someone, let's say it's like their first time really getting into modeling, like they want to just like kind of dip their toes into it, that's a situation that I will definitely like guide more of if it's like a first time situation for them. Or let's say they don't have a super high confidence. I'm going to do my part and just like making sure they feel safe, make sure they feel comfortable, hype them up, make sure that they feel like secure in themselves as well. So I think it is definitely very situational, but one of the very first questions I ask when I connect with someone is just like, okay, do you have an idea? If they don't, then it's like, okay, let me think of some things, and I'll usually give like three options from them to choose from, and then we'll
Hmm.
go from there. So sometimes it is more of a, like a conversation and like a
Hmm.
planning, but sometimes it's very like, no, this is what I want. So it just depends.
Yeah. For some photographers that are just kind of starting out and they're kind of wondering like, okay, well, what's the best way that I can get started? Maybe share what's one thing an up and coming, like if you were to talk to the 18-year-old Sky, the 21-year-old Sky, like, hey, I'm just getting started, what's something that I can do to kind of get ready, because this is something that I definitely like, appreciate, and I'd love to be able to get more involved in this. What's something that they can do?
Yeah, I would say educate yourself. Really do your part, do your research, make sure it's something you actually like want to do and enjoy. Because there's people that they may love taking photos, but the editing process they may hate. I personally love the editing part, but I know photographers that are very verbal that they hate editing. So I think just really educating yourself and making sure that this is something you actually love and enjoy, because it's going to take a lot of your time, and you have to be willing to make time for that. especially if people are paying
That's
you to do
true.
it as well.
Hmm.
So I would say that part is very important to make sure it is 100% something that you see yourself doing, but actually enjoy doing, because you don't want your passion to become a burden, right?
Hmm.
Nobody wants that. So I would say that is probably the biggest thing.
That's probably the most helpful thing you can tell somebody, and because I think that's where it
yeah,
starts. It is do your research.
yeah, and just yeah, and just like having grace with yourself. You're not always gonna get the perfect shot.
Hmm.
You're gonna mess up, and just like having grace with yourself. I think that's the biggest thing. I think a lot of people are scared of failure. I'm scared of failure. I don't want to fail, right? It's a horrible feeling, but it's just like at the end of the day, it's gonna happen. Like it's bound to happen. We're human. We're not perfect. So I think being okay with like messing up also, like embrace your mistakes and learn from it, move forward from it. There's no reason like to mope in it. Like, oh, I took a bad shot. Let me just sit in it. Like, no, it's not going to do anything for you. Like, I'm really big on like feel your feelings and move
Yes.
forward. That's just who I am as
Yes.
a person. So like, if I take a crappy shot, it's just like, okay, that was a bad shot. What am I doing to fix it? How am I going to be better? So I think just like you have to have that mindset too. You can't stay stuck in that like, oh,
Hmm.
you know. So that's another really big
Yeah.
thing.
No, I think that's fantastic. And did you have, other than your dad, who was kind of the other biggest cheerleader you had in your journey? Uh, you're launching a business career, but who else has kind of been a big part of that process for you?
Oof, it's a lot of pressure. Um, I would say, golly, I feel like I've just had so many like great mentors. And I'll share like while I was in Washington when I first got into like modeling and fashion, a couple of photographers up there, they were the ones that like saw that potential, and like they were the ones that were like hyping me up. And so like I really appreciated that, like kind of being taken under their wing, and like connections are everything. So like the more people I'd meet through them, like that just like progressed me
Hmm.
even further. So I would say I'm really grateful for the people that I've met in those capacities. Since I've moved back to Texas, it has been a little bit trickier because like I've been gone for
Hmm.
6 years. So it's like starting over is also okay, but it's hard. So yeah, I would just say like connect, 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 because you never know who you're gonna meet. I personally got involved with the American Red Cross,
Oh,
so like it's a
yeah.
nonprofit organization. So like I also do photography for them now as well, and I love the heck out of it. Like now I get to like write stories, and next week I'll be doing like a press conference. So like you just meet really great people. Yeah, no, it's great. So I would say like surrounding yourself with people that want to see you win and want to see you grow, that's probably the biggest thing. So I would say that is a very like broad answer. I know it's not very specific, but I would say like the people that have been around my life that have always wanted to see me win, those are the people I'm
Yeah.
definitely grateful
Well,
for.
as you kind
Yeah.
of continue to keep scaling, where do you definitely see the business continuing to grow? Do you feel like, okay, maybe in the next, whether it's 2, 3, 5, 10 years beyond that, this is in the next couple of years, this is what I want to accomplish. What are some goals that you're thinking for yourself that you want to accomplish for yourself, for your business, as you continue to grow the photography business? Maybe is there other avenues within the business that you may possibly explore?
Yeah, I would say ultimately I would love to travel out of state. I really only travel within Texas, the Texas region. So, which I love and really enjoy, but I think that would be like a next level accomplishment of like now I'm getting paid to like leave the state, and take photos. So I think that would be really awesome to see for my personal growth. In regards to like career wise, oh boy, for example, like the American Red Cross, like just doing a press conference, like that'll be my first press conference. I don't know what to expect, but I'm
That's a
excited.
huge opportunity though
But
too.
like settings like that, yeah, settings like that, like I want to be a part of those. Like I want to get the stories. I want to be in the real like thick of it with people and capturing those moments. So like ultimately like around the world, right? But for now, I think getting outside of Texas would be probably my first goal right now, and then just grow from there. But no, I would love to just like do more with like the media world as a whole and really grab the truth and grab the whole story. I really value that as well.
Okay. Okay. I'm
Yeah.
thinking maybe since you're in Dallas, maybe the Dallas Cowboys might need some photographers up there too. Who?
Oh, that would be so fun. I'm actually okay. I was gonna say something earlier, but I was like, it's
Mm,
fine. I'm actually like 3 hours from
okay.
Dallas. It's
Hmm.
not far, but I have like family in
Hmm.
Dallas and everything. But yeah, I am actually 3 hours
Oh,
from
okay. Okay.
Dallas.
So you're a little bit. You're a little bit. Are you
Yeah.
south or north? Okay. Southwest.
Southwest.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like right in the
Okay.
middle of Texas. It's a small town, San
Okay. Yeah.
Angelo,
There's so
Texas.
many towns in Texas.
But hey, this is
It's
where
there's
I
so
grew
many
up.
areas in Texas. I've been to many places in Texas before. Great people, great food. I mean, it's just and great scenery. So really, just I know obviously the foliage there is so different than how it is obviously in Washington State, but there's so much beauty in
Oh,
nature that's in
100%.
Texas. There really is.
Yeah. No, I love it. It's definitely not the city, but I do love it.
Absolutely. Well, Sky, one of the best ways, we want to definitely make sure that you're getting the support you can. What are some ways people can follow you, so that way we can get an opportunity so people can actually see your work?
Yeah, 100%. So, biggest platform I love is LinkedIn. You could just do Sky Grimes. I'm assuming you'll put like my
Yeah,
actual name on
it'll
there
be in
so
the
that
show
they can see
notes.
you. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then yeah, my Instagram is just underscore Sky underscore Elizabeth. Hold on. Yes, I forgot my Instagram
It's
handle.
okay.
Okay, yes. It is underscore Sky underscore Elizabeth with an S, not a Z,
Okay.
underscore. And then my photography page is tagged in my personal page too. It's Skylight Photography. So, Instagram is probably the biggest platform that I use. I use TikTok just like on a personal level, not really for my photography. But yeah, LinkedIn and Instagram are probably the top two platforms that I'm on
Okay.
for that.
Well, that'll be in the show notes. I'll make sure to put that in there so people can definitely, follow, and then definitely view just the work that you've done. And I'm very proud of you, and I'm very proud of just the, growth that you've been able to achieve, the victories that you've been able to achieve, and the support that you're continuing to get. It's just phenomenal. And you, my friend, are going to do some great things. So I want to thank you personally for being on here with me. It's great that you came on here to share that story. And it's only just the beginning. I really believe that there's some great things that you're going to do in that Texas area. And who knows where this is going to go. I think this is just the start of just something big to come for you.
I really appreciate that. And thank you for having me. Was just really looking forward to it. I was very excited because we haven't spoken in probably like a
Yeah.
couple of years. Because I think
Hmm.
I was 19 when I
Hmm.
first met you. I might have been 20, but I'm pretty sure I had like just moved to Washington. So thank you for just like being bold and reaching out because I personally I love this type of stuff, just giving people a platform to not only connect but like share their story. I really respect that. So thank you for
Absolutely.
asking.
Happy to have
I
you on
appreciate
here.
it.